Welcome to 8 Blue. Please follow along as our team teachers introduce themselves and give a brief overview of their curricula. Hello everyone, I'm Barb Conway and I teach CA at LW on the 8 Blue team. This is my 21st year at Cocalico Middle School and I truly enjoy teaching every aspect of our ELA curriculum. Now that the 2021-2022 school year is underway, I look forward to filling all our students' lives with literature and language.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Hogan and I teach CA and LW on the 8 Blue team, and I'm so excited to have your students this year.
Hey everyone, my name is Mrs. Arrett and I am the math teacher on 8 Blue. This is my 15th year teaching at Cocalico Middle School.
You clicked on the science teacher, Mr. Bilby. I teach physical science and have been teaching here at Cocalico since 2001. More information about my science curriculum coming later in this presentation.
Hello everyone and welcome to the 2021-2022 school year. I'm Dr. Tartaglia and I teach social studies for the 8 Blue team. This is my 4th year on the team and at the middle school, following 9 years of instructing at the high school. I have already seen students expanding their knowledge of social studies content and skills, and I look forward to that continued progress throughout the school year.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Pittsburgh. I am the learning support teacher for the 8 Blue team. This is my 36th and final year of teaching. I have been part of the Cocalico Middle School teaching staff since 1988. As the learning support teacher, I teach ELA, English Language Arts, math, and provide academic support to all of our learning support students on our team. The ELA program we use is a web-based intervention program called Language Live. It is a blended approach utilizing both teacher-driven and web-based instruction. The teacher-driven portion is called text training and provides instruction in reading, grammar, vocabulary, and writing. The web-based portion is called word training and focuses on encoding, decoding, and fluency skills. In addition, students complete daily editing skills practices. The math program is also a web-based intervention program called Math 180. Like Language Live, it also combines teacher-driven instruction with web-based instruction to teach math skills. In addition, students work on math fact fluency practice. Finally, I work with our learning support students to provide help on classroom assignments and retesting with students who need it. Please feel free to contact me at any time with your questions or concerns.
Hello and welcome back to school, students and parents. This is Mrs. Schaefer, your school counselor. We will continue to work on career development lessons throughout the year and relate those lessons to the transition to high school that will be occurring before you know it. As always, I'm here to help with social and emotional and academic needs as the year progresses. I look forward to working with all of you again.
Hi everyone, it's Mr. Bilby. Welcome back to a very interesting school year. I teach 8th grade physical science and I like to start the year off with a unit that I call boot camp. What boot camp is getting your son or daughter back in scientific shape by getting them familiar with how science works. We will be taking a look at the scientific method, collecting and analyzing information during a science experiment, using different graphs to interpret data, using the metric system, making measurements, all that sorts of thing that we will be using throughout the entire school year will be kind of like thrown in the first 3 or 4 weeks of boot camp before we can get on to the next phase of physical science. Matter and energy. Matter and energy is the next unit after boot camp, and it is broken down into 4 units. The first being matter and what is matter, how to measure matter, things like that. The second unit then is properties of matter and how we distinguish one thing apart from another. The third unit is looking at all the different forms of energy. And in the last unit, we will specifically look at the form of energy, heat. Then next comes Physics. We'll start physics probably after the new year rolls around in January, and it's about 4 units in length. The first being motion and measuring things in motion as far as speed and acceleration, velocity. That's the first unit. Then the second unit will take a look at what forces are, and then Newton's laws of motion as it applies to the different kinds of forces. Third unit then will take a look at how different forces influence something's motion, whether it's gravity or air resistance and things of that nature. Generally, physics lasts from the beginning of January when we come back to school after the holiday break to around the end of March sometime. After physics comes chemistry, and chemistry is usually from about, April to the end of the year, and we have 3 units of study in chemistry. The first one is how atoms and the periodic table are related. And shown here is a typical diagram of an atom, and all those items listed to the right are what your student will have to answer when it comes time for that test for Unit 1. On the next slide then has the rest of the units of chemistry that we will take a look at. Once students get familiar with atoms and the periodic table, we move on to the next unit of study in chemistry, and that's bonding. We will take a look at why certain atoms on the periodic table do or do not bond with other atoms on the periodic table. For example, water's chemical formula is H2O1. We'll take a look at why is there always 2 atoms of hydrogen for every 1 atom of oxygen in the bonding unit. Rounding out the year with the last unit is the third and final unit called chemical reactions, and we'll take a look at why certain chemicals do or do not react when you put them in with other chemicals. And that, of course, will be about late May, very early June, depending upon when the school year ends. And that summarizes what your son or daughter will learn this year in physical science.
Hey everyone, my name is Mrs. Gr8, and I am the math teacher on 8 Blue. This is my 15th year teaching at Cocalico Middle School. Besides 8th grade, I have also taught 6th grade math. The next few slides will outline what math will look like in 8th grade, which spirals from 7th grade. Welcome to 8th grade math. At Cocalico Middle School, there are 2 levels of math that are offered to 8th graders, the first one being Algebra 1. This high school level course not only provides students with the opportunity to learn algebra, but it also includes the 8th grade curriculum. Keep in mind, though, that all Algebra 1 students will be taking the Keystone exam, which will happen towards the end of May. All other 8th grade students will be in Math 8, which is the 8th grade math curriculum. Remember, regardless of the level that you are in, your performance through the year will dictate your high school math recommendation. Both Math 8 and Algebra students follow a similar course of study. The order in which your child will be learning each unit, though, is subject to change. All units taught have a corresponding presentation that I use each day, as well as packets that provide practice problems. At the end of each unit, all students will be provided with a study guide and practice problems that we as a class will review together. Missed class or need extra reinforcement? All lessons that are taught in class are also video lessons that myself and Mr. Musser created for students to stay caught up. The links for the videos can be found under each unit folder on Schoology. Besides videos, absent students should be checking Schoology daily to stay caught up for math class.
Hello everyone. Once again, I'm Dr. Tartaglia and I teach social studies for the 8 Blue Team. I hope that all of you had a great summer and that the start to the school year has been positive. 8th grade social studies is the second of 3 consecutive years that Cocalico students have in which they learn about American history. We have begun social studies with a brief overview of the U.S. presidents, especially those that will be significant contributors to our course of study. Students have also learned economic concepts and geography, so they now have a better understanding of how the North and the South function in the mid-1800s. Our main unit for the school year is the Civil War. This will take us several months to complete, as we have several long-term projects, virtual field trips, and other engaging activities planned. The last 3 units for 8th grade social studies are an examination of the post-Civil War era, including Reconstruction, the Industrial Age, and Immigration. This will ensure students are prepared for the 9th grade American Studies course that will continue where we finish. This year will certainly present its own unique set of challenges for all of us, but I'm confident we'll do our best to provide students with an enjoyable and memorable learning experience. If you have any questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to contact me via email. Take care.
To keep everyone organized and up to date, whether a student is in school or absent, Mrs. Conway will post a daily virtual classroom which contains the day's lesson, assignments, and helpful links. Schoology, and this classroom in particular, are excellent ways to stay on top of assignments and review lessons, as well as a great way to view work missed when a student has been absent.
To keep students organized, Mrs. Hogan will post her daily lessons at a glance each day on Schoology. These lessons will show you what we're doing for the whole class period. They'll show you our essential question for the day, as well as any materials needed to complete the work for the day. So this is a great place to go if you missed class for some reason, or if you just want to review your week. Any links to materials needed will come up in blue on our lessons at a glance. I hope these are helpful for you.
Communication arts in 8th grade is divided into 3 main categories: writing, literature, and grammar. Writing is an important part of CA and is an ongoing process throughout the year. We begin the year with a narrative essay inspired by the exciting illustrations from the book The Mysteries of Harris Burdick. This essay gives students a chance to be both imaginative and creative as they develop stories around some very unusual pictures. We then continue to our argumentative essay, where the students are taught to defend a position on a current issue of their choosing. The goal of this essay is for students to find researched evidence to support their views and then to use and cite that evidence correctly and accurately. We also write in conjunction with our literature units. Students are asked to respond to deeper level questions and to compare and contrast different works in an expository essay. Finally, as an ongoing activity, students practice writing responses to open-ended prompts, much like those presented in the PSSA. When studying literature, our students read, analyze, and enjoy poems, essays, plays, and short stories. In the short story unit, we focus on teaching the elements of the short story genre, as well as introducing students to amazing authors. The third component of 8th grade communication arts is grammar. It's important to note that just like writing and literature, we teach grammar throughout the entire year and reinforce it within all the components of CA. We begin the year with a review and reinforcement of the 8 parts of speech, with a slightly stronger emphasis on verbs and prepositions. We then move on to lessons on phrases, where we study participles, gerunds, and infinitives. We end our year of grammar learning about adjective and adverb clauses, and we put them to good use as students practice sentence combining to improve their writing skills.
One part of literacy workshop is reading class. And in reading class, you will have independent reading assignments. You'll read 3 to 4 self-selected books, and after each book, you'll write a response that focuses on different literary elements and analysis. Class novels, lit circles, and read-alouds will also be part of this reading class. And you might have individual projects or possibly some type of group project, and some lessons on reading skills, reading strategies, and discussion techniques. I love talking about vocabulary. Our 8th grade vocabulary is based on Greek and Latin roots, prefixes, and suffixes. We want our students to develop a broad vocabulary, and we want our students to be able to tentatively define a word by breaking it apart and then putting the parts back together and figuring out the definition on his or her own. The vocabulary will consist of mini lessons together, and then practice as an individual, every once in a while some group projects, and then some quizzes and tests to really encourage students to commit these words, these roots, these suffixes to their memories. It is a very interesting unit, and I think students will be amazed at how they improve their vocabulary by up to 140 words. You know, it's the end of the school year in LW when we are learning about Shakespeare's life and times and getting ready to read Shakespeare's play Romeo and Juliet. This is a fun, culminating unit for our LW students because this is when they really need to use all of those reading strategies and those vocabulary strategies that we've talked about throughout the trimesters to read such a challenging text. And this is also when they get to understand that our language has changed and evolved as people contribute to literature, and Shakespeare can certainly be talked about in that way. So students will not only read his play, but understand the impact that Shakespeare's writing had on our language. Our PSSA practice portion of literacy workshop is mostly embedded into our lessons, our reading skills lessons, our writing lessons, and our fiction and nonfiction lessons. We want our students to be able to not only read for enjoyment, but to read for knowledge and to read for learning. And so as our students read, we're going to ask them to be able to use the text and to make connections with the text and their thoughts and opinions. And we're going to ask students to be able to give credit where credit is due when they've used their reading to support their thoughts. And we want our students to be able to learn from both fiction and nonfiction texts to enhance their educational experience.
To make navigating through this unusual school year a bit easier, the 8 Blue teachers have decided to organize all of our Schoology courses in a similar way. As indicated in Figure 1, each teacher will post a daily folder labeled with the day of the week and the date. In Figure 2, you see that when you click on a daily folder, you'll be able to view and access the day's lesson and materials. Something unique to the 8 Blue team is our fledgling program. This slide briefly describes the program and its benefits to students who need remediation, help with missing assignments, or a chance to catch up with work missed during an absence. To conclude our presentation, we would like to share with you the various ways you're able to communicate with our team. As always, feel free to reach out to any of us individually via email or Schoology message. If you're merely looking for general team information or a copy of the latest paperwork that has been sent home, join the 8 Blue Schoology course. To do this, log into Schoology and join our course using the access code listed on this slide.